Attention, attention, all personnel. Incoming podcast. This is MASH Matters.
We are back with another episode of MASH Matters. If this is your first time, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ryan Patrick. I've been a lifelong fan of the show called MASH, and I've also been a lifelong fan of the actors on that show, including my good friend, Mr. Jeff Maxwell. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Ryan. It's so nice to be with you, and it's so nice to be doing MASH Matters again. We're doing a wonderful new episode. It's just going to be...
Now, hold on. You're already calling it wonderful? I mean, it's a little early to be going ahead and slapping the wonderful label on it, isn't it?
We're doing a wonderful, ubiquitous episode.
I just don't want to set the bar too high with expectations, is all I'm saying.
We're doing a really crummy episode this time.
We're just going to do an episode and let you decide if it's crummy or if it's wonderful.
We could do a contest. They could vote and win absolutely nothing.
Right.
We have nothing to give anybody.
You know the old saying, one man's crummy is another man's wonderful. I think that's it. Is that not it? No, it's not it. Never mind.
That's my mantra I say every morning when I get up. What is ubiquitous again? Let me look that up. Hold on.
That's a big word.
Marjorie, bring in the dictionary, please.
Well, anyway, hey, we're back, and we have another slew of listener comments and questions. But before we get to those, Jeff, we had another passing that we want to report. This happened a few weeks ago, but it actually happened after we recorded our last episode, so we didn't get to mention it. But we lost Hojan. Patrick Adiarte passed away, and that was sad. First of all, he only was in the first season, but he was such a big part of the series. He was in 7 episodes, and it seems like he was in so much more than that. But if you look at the IMDb, you see he was just there for a short time, but he made a big impact.
Yeah, he will be missed. He was a terrific dancer.
Yeah.
we almost had him on one of our episodes. We just missed him for various reasons, but it's that point when we were trying to get him on the podcast that I had just learned that he was a terrific dancer. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he will be missed. He was a terrific character, terrific actor, very charming, fun to watch, and had a great sense about it and presence about him. So it's too bad.
He had a heck of a career too, because when he was a child, he was in the original production of The King and I with Yul Brynner, and then he went on to play the role again in the film version. And Brady Bunch fans will remember him as the tour guide in the Hawaii episode. I mean, he had quite a career, not only as an actor, but as a dancer and a singer. He was a singer as well. Mm-hmm. And then, his time on MASH was short-lived, but did have a big impact. And we would love to have talked to him. Like you said, we came so close to having him on the podcast.
Came so close.
There was a one comment I wanted to mention from our Instagram. This is Jake Linger, 1975. I'm a former journalist, and in 2014, I was ecstatic to interview a Korean War veteran who also happened to have been a war correspondent. He told me some amazing stories, and 2 of the questions I asked him were A, how accurate was MASH, and B, were there really houseboys like Hojan? His answers, the first couple of seasons in particular, were very accurate, and in fact, his unit had their own version of Hojan, and the crazy part is that that houseboy was named Henry.
Great.
Now Hojan was a character that was in the book and also the film. So it's not like that came from the research that Larry Gelbart and Gene Reynolds did, but it did come directly from Richard Hooker's book, which was based on real life events. So yes, there were quite a few Hojans in the Korean War. Mm-hmm. And our favorite, Patrick Adiarte, goodbye, farewell, and amen.
Well, by the way, you did introduce our episode, and you gave a very good description of someone who loved the show MASH and everything. Mm-hmm. I just want to say that I'm a guy who actually worked on the show.
Oh.
And you loved it.
That's right.
And I actually worked on the show.
I'm so glad you clarified that, because I don't think that we do that enough on this show.
Really? We can't do that enough, actually.
We're going to get voicemails. In fact, speaking of, let's go to a voicemail.
Yeah.
Before we get into new comments, we're going to do a little housekeeping here. And this one comes to us from Steve.
Hey, Ryan and Jeff. This is Steve from St. Petersburg, Florida. Just wanted to let you know that I heard episode 134 where the guy talked about getting the script in his school for the episode Letters. I got the same thing. November 1980 was the episode, and I don't expect that it was before the episode aired, but I know we got the script, and I think it was from something like Weekly Reader or Scholastic, which was another kind of thing that published things in bulk for schools. But I think that episode script came in something like the Weekly Reader. It was really a neat thing, and I still remember, of course, that first line, just like that guy said, I don't want to say it's wet out, but on the way over, I saw a duck carrying an umbrella. So it's not just a one-off thing. It was not an official script. It was printed by some outside company, but I would expect that it was sometime after the episode aired. Who knows, but I have the same experience he did, so thanks. Keep doing well with the podcast.
Thank you, Steve.
All right.
And then just to add more context to this, our friend Eric White, the MASH historian, he sent in a note saying, hello, Ryan and Jeff. I hope you're both doing well. I just listened to your most recent episode. Great as always. Aw, thank you. And I have some insight on how the fan got a copy of the script Letters before the episode aired. They likely received the script as part of the CBS television reading program, which was designed to provide students in participating schools with scripts of selected drama specials to be presented on the network. These scripts are to be read both before and during the broadcasts. Subsequently, in the classrooms, enrichment exercises will be offered to prompt discussions on the literary and social values in the programs. That was a quote from the New York Times. Eric wrote a post about this, about a different script for the CBS television reading program, but he also has a copy of the one that had letters in. And these were special copies of the scripts given out before the episode aired, given to students at school to take home and read while they watched the episode on TV with their families. It was printed on newsprint, and it also included a glossary of television terms, information on how television shows were made, and a guide for parents with possible discussion questions about the episode. It was created to educate children on the process of making their favorite shows and encouraging them to read by providing a full script of the episode. He included some photos. You can check out the post, and we'll put the photos from this in the show notes for this episode, which is episode 136 at mashmodders.com. But thank you, Eric. Thank you, Steve. I did not know this. I somehow missed this original post from Eric at the MASH Historian, and I was not one of the lucky schools that got this cool little thing prior to the airing of Letters. But what a neat thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's interesting. Personally, I used to take my script around to different schools and just sit with the students and make them read it out loud. Just to taunt them, to see, can you say this? Do you know what ubiquitous means? Go ahead, little Donnie, say it, ubiquitous. I don't know. Come on, get out of here, kid.
And that's how you got the restraining order. It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right. Now with some thoughts on the finale, here is our friend Leslie.
Hey, it's Leslie from Connecticut. MASH mailers matter, whether we're voicemailers or emailers. What a great episode. To keep my comment under 3 minutes, a challenge in and of itself, I will address the finale. I'm an in-betweener. Not my favorite, and yes, glad that so many got a voice, even future pig farmers. The upside I focus on is that it did address more directly the physical and emotional trauma of war, loss of hearing, loss of the healing power of music, emotional chaos, loss of friendships, and even loss of temporary home. I listened to this episode on National Vietnam War Veterans Day, and though MASH took place in Korea, I often associate it with Vietnam. It was great today, in a thing I went to be able to say to so many, welcome home. So thank you for this podcast. Thank you for the healing that you all bring with humor. Honest. All right. Y'all take good care and keep on keeping on. And yeah, looking up your old address. Okay. Bye.
Wow. Thank you, Leslie. You get it, Leslie. You get it.
Yeah.
Wow. That was great. That was a good assessment of how she felt and a good assessment of the show and in every aspect. That was terrific. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to listen to that again later on, maybe later. But Leslie, thank you. That was wonderful.
And our final piece of housekeeping here, Jeff, you want to read the note from Stephanie?
Stephanie says, hi, Jeff and Ryan. I just finished listening to the most recent podcast episode and was intrigued by Eric's comments about YouTube videos with fake info. I went to look at the video you mentioned for myself and started laughing within moments when I realized the entire thing was made with AI. The reason the voiceover mispronounces names is because it's just a script, probably generated with ChatGPT to begin with, fed into a bot with an AI-generated voice. It's not a real person, Stephanie says. The sole purpose of these accounts, and there are many, is to pump out clickbait content fast to game the algorithm and generate passive income for some guy living in his parents' basement, probably in his underwear. She didn't say that, but I did. In fact, I guarantee the person behind the account doesn't even check the videos. They probably just upload immediately once the AI is done making them. They don't care. Moral of the story. Watch out for AI videos, photos, posts, whatever. So many things on the internet today are just made as rage bait to generate interactions and get people mad because people engage if they're mad. If things seem suspect or riddled with weird inaccuracies and inconsistency, it's probably AI. Love the podcast. Keep up the great work.
Wow.
She's all steamed up.
Yeah.
Now she's mad, so she's more engaged. See? And
Right,
I'm mad
exactly.
now, and I'm more engaged. It works.
But see, I'm concerned because that last sentence there, if things seem suspect or riddled with weird inaccuracies and inconsistencies, it's probably AI. That kind of describes our podcast. So I'm worried that people might think what we're doing here is AI because
don't go there. Don't go there.
episodes are riddled usually with weird inaccuracies and inconsistencies and incorrect answers. And,
A lot of incorrect. Yeah, it's probably.
So I'm worried now that people may misinterpret what Stephanie is saying.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we're real.
Yeah, but we can make you mad. We can make you mad and get you engaged if we want.
Okay, moving on. Now here, let's get into some new stuff. Ken writes, hi, Jeff and Ryan. It's always a pleasure to hear both of you twice each month. It brings levity to my day. I have two more unanswerable questions for you. Question number 1. In the episode OR, at the beginning of the episode, Radar recognizes that it is setting up to be a long and grueling operating session and thus asks Colonel Blake if he would like the sound from the movie piped into the OR. Silly question. Why and who is watching a movie during a particularly grueling session in the operating room? Shouldn't most people in the camp be busy with hospital duties? Question number 2. In the episode Springtime, Radar is smitten by Lieutenant Simmons. During one scene, he is on his knees measuring the camp and comments that the camp is approximately 2,900 square feet. If that is true, it is an extremely small camp. I'm sure Alan Alda's house is bigger than that. It could be that Radar was simply finding an excuse to bump into Simmons and randomly came up with a number that seemed big to him. As always, love the show and keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, Ken. Many episodes ago, we did an entire episode called Unanswerable Questions. Mm-hmm. Here's two more. The Springtime, the 2,900 square feet. Yeah, Radar probably grew up in a farmhouse that was about 500 square feet. So that would be big to him. I'm guessing he just made that up. And as far as the OR episode, yeah, everybody is working. It's grueling. They're pulling long hours. Is Igor in the mess tent watching a movie by himself with the projector?
Yeah.
What's going on there? Who's watching a movie?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Unless it's the second shift. Sometimes they would say first shift, please report to.
Yeah.
That inferred that there was a second shift of doctors that we never met.
Huh, yeah.
They're doing their own series on the other side of camp. I don't know.
I wonder also, could it have been a sarcastic question from Radar to Colonel, but
no, because later you hear the audio from the movie being piped in through the speaker.
I must say, Senora, that's the best meal I've ever eaten.
It's the least I can give you for an afternoon of great emotion. You followed your star yesterday. You were inspired.
Who wouldn't be inspired? I'd seen you.
What is that? Blood and Sand, Tyrone Power, Rita Hayworth.
The Frank and Hot Lips of Old Seville.
So they're running a movie somewhere in camp and put the microphone up to it so you can listen to the movie.
Yeah.
A lone projector just showing a movie to nobody.
Oh, I like that. A lone projector showing a movie to nobody.
That's deep.
That's deep. That's a good series.
Yeah.
Let's do a series. The lone projector showing a movie. Yeah, well, that's good. You know, surgeons, let's be honest, surgeons get really, really weird and they have to have some distraction a little bit. So music helps them, conversations help them. I mean, surgeons talk all kinds of stuff while they're operating on your spleen. So I'm sorry to those surgeons out there. I mean no harm, but you do that. I know you do that. You listen to music, you talk about what you had for dinner and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that was just something he thought Colonel Blake would like during this process to help him do it or something. Yeah,
it could be. Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know. What do I know? I just worked there.
We're just riddled with inaccuracies here.
Yeah. And Andrew says, "Hi, Ryan and Jeff. I just finished listening to your latest podcast and went over to the site formerly known as Twitter, only to discover a post from Classic MASH featuring Hawkeye and BJ singing in the shower. Made me wonder about the multitude of shower scenes scattered throughout the show's run. It is pretty obvious, at least sometimes, that there was hot water being pumped in, but what was it like for the actors when they had to get wet? Were they wearing bathing suits or did they opt for authenticity? Was there... Oh, golly. Was there an effort to get these scenes done as fast as possible? And how many times did Frank get into the lather? Thanks for whatever information you can pass on."
Well,
Well,
we went straight to the source. As I recall, Jeff, you never had a shower scene on MASH, did you?
I did not. I did get naked occasionally just for the heck of it, but it wasn't a shower. It was behind the steam table.
Well, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
No, I have scars still to this day.
Well, we reached out to somebody who did take showers at the 407 7th, and Mr. Mike Farrell replied with this answer. "Well, we weren't naked, if that's what the question implies. Getting wet in the shower is what happens, and then you dry off. The shower scenes were usually fun with goofing, joking, and singing involved. And yes, as I recall, they were careful about providing hot or warm water for us. I can't account for Frank. It's possible he never showered."
Good answer.
Well, there you go, Andrew. Straight from DJ Honeycutt himself.
There you go. Yep. And it's funny. I was watching the episode the other night and they were all in the shower and it's a weird thing. And that little tent, that little area was so small and so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And to get in that, pine box thing that they made to make the showers, it was just an odd, weird thing to have to do. And so it's, and I watch them scrubbing and scrubbing. They didn't like doing it.
I took a shower on stage once.
Did you really?
I did. This was many, many years ago. It was in a play called Lips Together, Teeth Apart by Terrence McNally. It's like it's set at a beach house. So there was like an outside shower. And so, I was covered, but I was taking a shower and they had to rig up something at the theater to make sure that the water was somewhat warm. That didn't always work out as well as I wanted to. But yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
And yes, I was wearing something underneath. I didn't go method actor for that show.
Gee, Mike Farrell's kind of a coward. You were a coward, for gosh sake.
Coward is a strong word.
Well, all right. Hesitant.
Yes.
You had hesitancy.
Yeah, exactly.
Or common decency, perhaps. Maybe that.
I just didn't want to show off.
Yeah. I know. All the screaming in the theater and everything would have been so awful.
Oh, my. Okay. Matt says, "Hey, Jeff and Ryan, I want to say you guys are awesome and the podcast is fantastic. I found the podcast about a month ago and I've been binging it ever since. I've been a fan of MASH since I was 3 years old. I would watch the show on Sunday mornings at my grandfather's bar before he'd take my older brother and I home. We would sit in a booth and have breakfast and watch MASH while my grandfather and uncle cleaned up the bar and got it ready for the day. I own the series on DVD and rewatch the whole series twice a year. Every time I hear the opening theme, it sends me back to those Sundays. Igor was always one of my favorite characters on the show and has the best line in the show. When responding to Major Burns' 'Yes, sir, what?' Igor confusedly replies,
'Yes, sir, 3 bags full.'
Jeff's facial expressions and reply make me lose it every time. I just want to say one more time, I love the podcast and thank you for keeping the spirit of MASH alive. P.S. I've included in my MASH tattoo if you want to share it.
Oh.
Matt sent us a picture of his MASH tattoo. We will put that in the show notes for this episode 136 at mashmatters.com.
MASH Matters are going to they owe me a residual now. I just said a line from the show.
That's right. Well, you might get another 10-cent check in the mail.
I may get another one. Now, just out of curiosity, where is Matt's tattoo?
Well, that's a rather personal question. I think you're going to have to go to the show notes to find out exactly where his tattoo is.
Well, we're looking forward, Matt, to seeing where the heck your tattoo is. And Ron says, Jeff and Mark. Hey, Jeff and Mark. So sorry. I loved working with you, Ryan.
Who is Mark?
We didn't want to say, all right, bring him in. Bring him in.
I'm being replaced, aren't I?
Mark, how you doing?
Ron, you let the cat out of the bag.
Hi, this is Mark. I'm taking over for Ryan now. I hope my voice is as good as his is. But anyway.
I guess I'm Mark now.
Jeff and Mark.
All right.
Relax, Mark. You'll be up in a minute.
All right.
On March 27th, Ron says, I took a road trip to Toledo, Ohio from my hometown, which is in southern Kentucky, just about an hour north of Nashville. I went there to take care of a couple of things on my bucket list. One of them was to stop at Tony Paco's. It was such a thrill to be able to take a picture of myself in front of that famous sign. Of course, I went inside and had a hot dog and pierogies. They were delicious. I got a souvenir t-shirt that has a MASH-themed design. But the highlight of my visit was something I saw that has a direct connection to MASH. On display is the actual box that was used to deliver sausage casings from Tony Paco's in the episode A War for All Seasons. I have included a picture that explains the story of how that box got to Paco's. I also got to visit the field where the Toledo Mud Hens play their games. It was opening day, but it was raining.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, that's bad. Because of the limited time I had to spend in Toledo, I didn't get to visit the house where Jamie Farr was born, but I had a great time anyway. I want to let you know that the 2 podcast episodes you did with Ray Poss and Karen Lieberman were 2 of the best ever episodes with behind-the-scenes people. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. That's very nice.
Yeah.
I will let Karen certainly know that you mentioned her and enjoyed her, and we'll let Ray Poss know that too. That's very nice to say. And I'm glad you got to go to Toledo and eat the hot dogs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we'll include a picture in the show notes of the box he's referring to. This is the box in the episode A War for All Seasons. It has a little note on it that says this box was constructed by the prop department of 20th Century Fox Studios and is clearly visible during the episode. On November 20th, Jamie Farr had the entire cast autograph the box and sent it to Nancy and Tony Paco as their way of saying thanks. And they have it on display there. It's autographed. They put a plastic case around it so my drool would not get on it because I'm an autograph nut myself. And we'll put a picture of that in our show notes.
I started drool when he mentioned sausage casings. You know how much I like sausage casings. And to hear him say those words.
And that's how you got your second restraining order.
Exactly.
All right.
Leave us alone, Mark. We're doing okay here.
So sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Sheila says, my husband has been a fan of MASH since the beginning and collected many of the DVDs over the years. I was introduced to the show through him nearly 15 years ago, and it's since become one of my all-time favorite sitcoms. These days, watching MASH has become part of our nightly routine. We put it on before bed almost every night. Sometimes we even fall asleep while it's still playing, and it'll run through the night until one of us eventually wakes up and turns it off. Falling asleep to the show doesn't mean it's boring. It takes our mind off the world and puts us in our comfort zone. When it comes to the character Igor, most fans tend to recall iconic moments like him shooting Radar's bugle, blowing Winchester's papers around with the fan, and of course, the classic liver or fish scene. We love them all, but for us, there's one particular moment that stands out, and it's from the episode Crisis. In that scene, Igor is standing by the fire when Frank walks up and asks, "Where did you get that wood, soldier?" Igor replies,
"My sister sent it to me, sir."
As Frank walks away and accepts his answer as legit, which is funny, Igor gives this confused look and casually shrugs at the guy standing next to him, who then starts laughing. The first time we saw it together, we both burst out laughing. It wasn't just the line itself, it was the way Jeff delivered it, his expression, his timing. That little moment had us in stitches. We still rewind that scene, sometimes just to see it again. Funny enough, just last night, we fell asleep with MASH on again and happened to wake up in the middle of the night to that exact scene. I had to stifle my laughter so I wouldn't wake my husband, but honestly, he probably would have woken up and laughed too. Back when I was new to the show, I remember asking my husband if Jeff Maxwell ever became a regular in the opening credits alongside the main cast. I thought you were that good and wanted to see more of you in the show. We were already big fans of you, Jeff, before the podcast, but now that we've gotten to know you more through it, we've become even bigger fans. Your humble, funny personality just shines through. Jeff, MASH truly missed an opportunity to make you a regular. The show is already fantastic, but your more consistent presence would have enhanced the show with your comedic timing. And Ryan and Jeff, we've listened to other MASH podcasts before, but they never seem to do the show justice. Yours absolutely does. We love hearing the genuine friendship between the two of you. Oh, and Ryan, we're still waiting for part 2 of the show and tell. When we watched part 1, we didn't want it to end. You mentioned you had even more MASH memorabilia to show, so we're ready whenever you are. Big thanks to both of you for always making us laugh and lifting our spirits, and judging by the other listeners, we're definitely not the only ones who feel this way.
Okay, that's enough for this episode. We're done. There's nothing more to say, really. Wow. I don't think there's nothing more to say.
How much money does Sheila owe you? I mean, is she like in deep? Is it like bad?
We'll
talk after the recording.
Yeah, I can't get into it.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
My goodness, Sheila, you guys can adopt me. I will come over to your house and I will keep the TV on or turn it off, whatever you guys want me to do. I will work that for you. Thank you very much for saying those things. It really warms the cockles of my heart. And I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Thank you very, very much for saying those things. Those are wonderful moments for me to remember when I'm hearing about them from folks who send them to me and us like you did. And it's just wonderful. I remember that moment very, very well. In fact, when we were through, both the fellow that I did that looked at, both of us fell on the ground too. We were laughing as well. So thank you for saying those really, really nice things. And please say hello to your husband if you can wake him up. Forgive me. I also want to go back just for a minute because I forgot. Somebody else said something nice about me too. Oh yeah. I just want to say thank you. Matt said something very nice about when I said yes or 3 bags full.
Yes.
Makes me lose it every time. So thank you, Matt, as well. Thank you for those very kind things. Thank you. But I'm not really as humble as you think. I mean, there is a certain humility, but it doesn't last very long.
You're a good actor. Oh, you're very good at playing humble.
Thank you.
It's very impressive. And to answer Sheila's question about the show and tell, this is back when we did a video episode where I showed off a bunch of my MASH stuff and you showed off like 2 things that were infinitely better than anything I had in my entire collection. But I mentioned that I had more, and I do. In fact, I just recently added some more to my collection. So maybe we'll do another one, or maybe I'll shoot some video of some of the stuff and share it in our social media pages. I don't know what we'll do, but I will look for a way to show you more of my stuff.
Hey, we could do another one of those shows and do that, and I can bring out those 2 things I have again.
Now, see, don't say that. That's how you got the 3rd restraining order.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You can't do that.
Oh, Kimberly says, hi, Jeff and Ryan. She's back with Ryan already.
What happened to Mark?
I don't know. He ran out of here in his underwear. I don't know what he was doing. Hi, Jeff and Ryan. I emailed in about a month ago or so and didn't really have any questions for you at that time. Just wanted to share my appreciation of MASH and love of the podcast with you. Over the past month, I've watched through the series again and really picked up on all the times the cast sings. One of my favorite ditties is when Igor sings while holding and polishing the fake grenade. Hilarious! And gets stuck in my head quite often since watching the episode as time goes by. I'm curious, did the writers make intentional decisions to have the cast members sing so often to display their talents? How did the writers make their decision to have a character sing? Is it common for actors to also be better than serviceable singers? Or do a lot of stage actors, which a lot of the cast was, double in acting and singing? Do you think MASH could have done a musical episode like Scrubs did? I'm glad they didn't. Question for Ryan. Do you prefer musicals or stage plays? What is harder, learning the lines or the song? As someone who was in the pit in college, I never gave it a second thought of how much work goes into knowing musical cues and all the spoken lines. It was bad enough dealing with 6 key changes in one song. Okay, I'm being a little dramatic. Sending all the best from flyover country in Nebraska. P.S. Ryan, please get better. Oh, well, that's very nice. Yes. Well, that's cute too. The singing, I think I made that up, actually.
Do you remember the song that you sang while polishing the grenade?
I think it was M is for the many things he does for me. O is for the other things she does. I believe that was
yes,
it.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. See, you do remember things, Jeff. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Mark. No, thank you. No, I do. I remember a few things. I mean, when I sing, I really remember that, and I'm going to do the
yes.
Yeah,
And, she mentions that a lot of the performers sang on the show. So Alan would sing. Loretta, we heard singing. Father Mulcahy would sing. Mm-hmm. There was the episode where they did the big sing-alongs. We heard from Klinger and that. We heard from Radar. Even Frank sings a little bit of that. I'm going to say that probably of everybody who did sing, I think Harry Morgan was probably not the strongest singer.
When I'm calling you.
But he did it with a lot of gusto, and that's why that's why I loved him. But yeah, there were a lot of singers. Now, whether or not the casting was intentional or how the writers would incorporate all of that, I'm not entirely sure, but it is fun to see some of these characters we love doing a little song and dance every now and then.
Yeah, it is. I think it was fairly clear when these people were cast that they had come from stage enough to be able to sing a song, even a little bitty of a song, because they were all stage performers. So they knew that they were able to get through.
Alan was in Broadway musicals.
And Gary Berghoff.
You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Yeah.
Yeah. And I came from Broadway doing The Music Man. So they knew that I could sing.
No, we talked about this recently. You had like tonsillitis or something and couldn't do the part.
Oh, right. That's right. But I learned the lines.
One of these days, you're going to play Professor Harold Hill.
It'll be in a walker, but it'll be interesting.
Hey, she asked a question too.
Yes, she did.
Do you prefer musicals or stage plays? I have been in both. I prefer plays, but musicals are more popular and more attended than plays are. But I'm not that strong of a singer. I can act like I can sing, but I cannot hit the notes like some people do. And also, I can't read music. She says that she played in the pit in college. I admire people who can play these different instruments to accompany the actors in these musicals. They do incredible work. And I'm so envious of musicians who play all these instruments very well, because I cannot read a lick of music. I have to learn it by ear. And even then, when it gets into the harmony, that screws with my head. So if I had to choose, I would do plays over musicals. But if I do a musical, it has to be a role that I feel confident that I can pull off.
Sure. You got to be comfortable. Gosh, what you're doing. Otherwise, you're in trouble. Yeah. I've done a few plays, and I did a musical, kind of a musical comedy called Together Again.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all about an improvisational comedy group who had been together for a long time and split up, and after many years got back together again.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, I did sing, and I had a song that I did with one of the other actresses about going to bed. And it was cute, and it was really cute because they had a bed behind us standing up, and we would sing in and out of the bed and do silly, fun things. And it was fun. That was actually the first musical I had ever done, and I had a good time doing it. It's fun.
And recently, in the last couple of years, they re-released on CD the soundtrack for Together Again, and I bought a copy of it.
Oh, no.
I'm going to see if the link is still available where people can buy a copy. And if so, I'll put it in the show notes. Again, it also comes with a cast recording of a show called Stages. So you get 2 recordings all in one. But this is the original recording with Mr. Jeff Maxwell.
Yes, and it was written and directed by a very talented fellow named Bruce Kimmel.
Mm-hmm.
He's a marvelous performer, and he's a marvelous writer. He did a lot of series and stuff back in the day. So you can see him on television shows all over the place if you can go back in time. But he was great. And the actress that was on stage with me, I won't say her name. It'll probably be in the cast thing. Her first name was Debbie. So there you go.
Ah, yes. I don't think I could pronounce her last name even if I tried. So yes, I see it here.
I'll say it because I loved it. I love the name. And it was Moradzadeh. Debbie Moradzadeh.
Yes, what you said. Yeah. And this was also the musical you were in with Rick Wallen.
Yes.
Who was in the Dreams episode of MASH, and we had him on the podcast with Mike Farrell discussing that. So he was also in Together Again.
He was, and terrific guy. We had such a good time doing that show because we just goof around and have fun. He was terrific. Great actor. A lot of fun.
That's great. Well, maybe we need to stage a revival of Together Again. How about that?
Everybody can do it in their walkers. Yeah. It'll be good.
We'll call it Together Eventually.
Eventually.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
You know.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Brad says, hey, Jeff, I just saw the announcement that you, Jamie Farr, and Loretta Swit will be attending Fan X in Salt Lake City in September this year. I had the opportunity to see and speak with Jamie and Loretta when they were guests back in 2021. You were not able to make it then and missed meeting you at that time. It is awesome. You are scheduled to attend Fan X this year. I look forward to finally meeting you. Oh, and maybe you can bring Ryan along and have a remote broadcast of MASH Matter set up at the convention, if that's a possibility. I've been listening to you and following you guys with your podcast for years and always look forward to each episode. Thanks, and bye-bye and bye bonds. Well, thank you, Brad. Yeah, you're going to be in Salt Lake City in September. How about that?
Yep, going to be in Salt Lake City and having a good time with Loretta and Jamie. And oh boy, that'll be fun. And I look forward to meeting you, Brad. And I look forward to being in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, and that's in September. We'll put a link to that in the show notes if you're in that area and would like to attend and meet Jamie and Loretta and Jeff. I don't know that Ryan is going to be there, but maybe we can send Mark.
Yeah, we'll see if he's available. Yeah,
we'll see if he's available.
Okay.
Now, I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you have any other convention things scheduled as of right now, or is there anything else in the works for this year?
There is in July, and I can't remember where it's going to be.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing you there. Yes.
Yeah. Everybody, please come out and see me there where I am.
Once Jeff figures out where he is, we will let you know as well. So you can help Jeff get to where he needs to be.
Yeah. Somebody should.
No, we will. As soon as we get all that ironed out, we will let you know all the details. All right. Another voicemail. This one coming to us from Chris.
Hey, guys. Chris Donahue from Norwalk, Connecticut. Love the show. I've listened to most of the episodes and really appreciate what you do for the MASH fans. Quick question when it comes to things like scheduling for when they were actually making the show. What did you do when one of the major players was sick? Alan Alda has the flu. Do you change the shooting schedule? How do you work around that? Just a curious thought that popped into my head. When you get a chance, would love to hear a response. Keep up the good work. Hope everyone's feeling well. Bye-bye and bye bonds.
Everybody seems to be buying bonds all of a sudden.
What do they know that we don't?
Yeah, really.
So that's a great question. I can't believe we really haven't talked about it yet. What happens if somebody got sick? Not just on MASH, but in general, what happens when somebody can't make it to filming that day? What do you do?
Well, they're not allowed to get sick.
Oh.
There is a rule.
It's in their contract.
It's in their contract. You get sick, you're out. That's an interesting question. I never, in my years there, I never experienced any of the cast getting sick enough to not be there. Sometimes they would come in and they'd have a cold or they'd sound, like they're a little whatever. But I never experienced anybody not being able to show up. It could have happened, certainly, but I don't know. I mean, if they were really sick enough, they probably would not come in and they'd shoot around them and wait until they got back and then they would shoot their scenes.
Well, there was one notable actor in the show who did miss some filming. In season 5, William Christopher had a bout with hepatitis.
Oh, right. Yes.
And so there were several episodes where he did not appear. They had to rewrite the show or the episode and give his lines to somebody else or write him out completely. But he was out, I think it was for like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It's one thing to have a cold or a hangnail. It's a whole other thing to have hepatitis.
Yeah, that's good to remind me of that. I forgot about that. Yeah, he was seriously ill for a long time. That was scary for everybody.
And they wrote it into the show, too. Father Mulcahy later has a bout with hepatitis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, those method actors, I'm telling you, man. Yeah.
Very serious, very serious.
Okay, well, before we go, let's say hello to our newest Patreon VIPs. And when I say newest as of when we record this episode. If you have recently signed up for Patreon, as you can do at mashmatters.com/support, as we talked about in our last episode, we will read your name in an upcoming episode. But for now, we want to say hello to Private Matt Toller.
And to Corporal Jennifer Kidney.
And to Corporal Gary Trump. Thank you for signing up to become a VIP. You can do it for as little as $3 a month and get some goodies. mashmatters.com/support. We made it.
We did. We made it through an ubiquitous episode.
No, you know what? In retrospect, I'm going to say it was a pretty wonderful episode.
Thank you. We started out with wonderful and we're ending with wonderful.
Now, again, this podcast is riddled with weird inaccuracies and inconsistencies, so maybe I'm making that up, but I think it was pretty good.
We don't know whether we're AI or not. I'm not really sure anymore.
I think Mark is AI, but everything else I'm pretty sure was real. And we thank you for joining us on this journey today.
And once again, thank you for all the people who said nice things about our podcast, and they say wonderful things about what we're doing here, which we really love doing, and all the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things that I did on the show. We really appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
And to anybody who says bad things about us, you can kick rocks. MashMatters.com is our website. MashMattersPodcast@gmail.com is how you can reach us. We're on a bunch of social media. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. You can't get rid of us. And we'll be back for another episode, whether you like it or not. Until then, here's looking up your old acronyms.
M is for the many things you gave me. O is for the other things you gave me.